Greetings, our legion of elves and reindeer. Welcome to Podcast the Storm, where socially awkward snowmen, crazy stocking stuffers, and all around naughty list members convene to talk and debate all things pop culture. With me, as always, is my co-host, the Jolly Holly Bookworm, aka the Authenticator, Dalton L. Mortimer.
It's been a long December, and there's reason to believe maybe this year will be better than the last. Also, look, I have a new necklace, thanks to Brainstormer, the crafty bugger.
Yeah,
I will probably be returning to my standard necklace next week, but I had to wear it at least once on air because, well, Brainstormer got it for me, and so I wasn't going to not show it off because I'm that much of a cheeky motherfucker.
I'm actually fairly proud of the necklace I got you. Just because, well, I'm sure you get it, obviously, but for people's for the context, it is a Egyptian cross necklace. That's how it was described when I ordered it.
It's an ankh, but the top of the ankh is actually a scarab, and the sides of the ankh are actually a Wedged Eye and Eye of Ra. So yeah, I was genuinely impressed. Also that it was copper, because like I like gold and silver as much as the next guy, but I actually think that copper, bronze, and iron tend to look better and nicer than silver and gold.
And I totally planned that. I totally planned that.
Yeah, it was another one of those you accidentally got it right without realizing you got it right things, wasn't it?
Yes. To be fair,
but yes, interestingly enough, during the time period when Rome converted to Christianity under the Emperor Constantine, the Christian cross did kind of merge into the Egyptian ankh and became what was known as a Coptic cross, which this is a variation on. So yeah, that was I saw that and I was like, okay, clearly someone who knows me pretty darn well would have sent this, because any idiot could have sent a cross, which I would not wear because, well, not Christian. But this version has so much history and whatnot behind it that it has to have been from someone who knows me well enough to know things. And then I messaged Brainstorm and was like, "Hey, did you send me anything in the mail today? Because neither me nor my mom could figure out where the frick this came from." And of course, then he started giggling because, well, yeah. Also, it has my birthstone in it, which, in general principle, I'm not excessively fond of rubies, but I do think rubies look nicer than diamonds. So there's that too. You still there, Brainstormer? Or are you getting the thing ready? I I don't know what happened to Brainstormer. He appears to be muted.
Yeah, no, I'm still here. I'm just setting things up.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure there wasn't yet another round of technical difficulties tonight.
But yeah, the image I had found, like I went on Amazon and I looked for that because I'll be honest, you got me some gifts, and I think I am still expecting one to show up.
Yeah, according to Amazon's shipping data, it should be there by like January 3rd.
Okay.
It's inexplicably late for some reason, but yeah, there's at least one gift of yours still coming.
Right.
But the first two got there on time, so that's good.
So I was trying to find. It was either going to be this, or I tried looking for some type of books on magic, but I kind of decided against that mainly because I am not sure what you already have in your collection, and I want to give you other copies.
Yeah,
And
that's fair. That's probably a smart idea. I mean,
it was either that.
I could have given you a list, but that would have kind of defeated the purpose, I guess. So
Yeah. Um. So I was. Yeah, I was gonna. So I was looking for some type of amulet or necklace that you could wear because I know you love to wear those. I
mhm.
already got you a because last year I got you a bow tie that you cannot wear, unfortunately.
The long and the short of that is, and I don't want to seem ungrateful, but because of my cerebral palsy, my hands are kind of fucked up. So I can get the latch on a pre-tied bow tie like these. It has a latch in the back that I can just latch around my neck. But when it's an actual tie-on bow tie, I have to have someone help me get them on, and I don't like being up that particular creek without a paddle. So I
Mhm.
try to go with pre-tied ones with a clasp on the back as much as possible. I felt really bad for saying that too last year because it sounded very ungrateful in my head, but
No, no.
then
Look,
again,
that was
it's
on
mhm, go
that.
ahead.
That was completely on me, just because I was not aware you had pre-made, uh, like, uh,
I
yeah,
I
pre-made.
actually I actually have two boxes of bow ties. I have a box of pre-tied ones that I can put on myself, and then I have a whole box of tie-on ones from back when I was in high school and my mom still helped me get dressed in the morning.
Hmm.
But
Um.
as is so often the case, relying on other people tends to be not a corner I like painting myself into. So in general, I favor the pre-tied ones so that no one has to help me get them on.
To be fair, it was either going to be the necklace or a top hat. Like I considered top hat last year, but I wanted to keep it somewhat small. Uh,
Honestly, this was perfect. So I'm glad you went with the one you went with. That being said, I would not say no to a new hat if that comes up next year or whatever. Uh, small thing, just to put a bug in your ear preemptively. The only two top hats I have are black ones. So if you wanted to get me one that was a different color, like a red or a pink or something, I would certainly be extra grateful for that because I like my hats. Don't get me wrong, but if it were up to me, I probably wouldn't have gone with basic black.
Fair enough. All right, I'll
Mm-hmm.
put a pin in that for next year then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, before we move on, again, I legitimately, when I looked at the image, it was gold with a ruby in it. It did not have the copper in it.
Yeah, no,
So
it's copper, but like I said, I like copper, bronze, and iron better in general than I do gold and silver. Doesn't mean I don't like gold and silver, but gold and silver tends to be like 3 times more expensive than other metals, and two, if it were up to me, I probably would go with either bronze or copper. So
yeah,
there's
I
that.
did make sure to pick the Egyptian thing because I remember specifically that it was like one of the first like pantheons you had studied, and uh,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
yeah,
When I first got into Magic, I was very heavily into the Egyptian pantheon. Largely, I think because of the influence of the TV show Tuttenstein from Discovery Kids. Um, but for a while there, I decided to go without any gods for the longest time because it bothered me that I was relying on the power of other beings to do magic. And then, as most people know, or most people who know me know, a couple of years ago, I sort of wound up getting really, really heavily back into spirit work and working with entities because, inadvertently, because of Neil Gaiman's The Sandman, and me suddenly having the realization that it may have been divinely inspired, which resulted in me having to do a bunch of research on spirit evocation, which is a fancy word for summoning, and that eventually led me into working with other entities, namely, of course, Queen Mab, and the rest is history. And now, because of 5 years of solid research, most of the magic that I do is spirit based magic. It's sort of funny how I pulled the 180 for the last like 5 or 6 years, but here we are.
and I will be fully honest. I think I also lucked out on the stone because I was fully questioning myself if it was June or July you were born in.
It was July. Um, I don't hold it against you that you didn't remember, considering that you also usually fail to remember what state I'm in. So there's that.
You're not gonna let me ever live that down, are you?
Probably not. No,
Yeah, fair enough. I never let you live down the sandwich thing, so
no, you don't. No,
okay.
no, it's fair.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be as close friends as we are if we didn't occasionally bust each other's balls.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So now moving on, we're going to finally finish uh, the Yule Man.
SCP, a reading by the Vogan.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 16 minutes and 44 seconds.
Mm-hmm. And I'm
So
pretty sure only the last like 5 minutes of that is the actual SCP, because I want to say uh there's also him thanking his subscribers after the SCP is actually finished and stuff. But anyway, moving
yeah.
on. Candy canes for the last time in 2023. Probably.
A number of scars and burns were present on her skin, and she had suffered 2 bone fractures. left tibia, and left ulna that had not been reset and had healed improperly. Hands were heavily calloused. Cause of death was attributed to multiple organ failure resulting from severe, sustained malnourishment.
Yeah, that like they clearly are going the like classic Slavic or Russian fairy tale vibes here. Because fairy tales were originally very, very dark, folks. They were some of the original horror stories.
Yeah, because they're meant to be cautionary tales because back then a lot of people, to be fair, I do think so. If nothing else, there is certain kernels of truth.
Yeah. There's certainly, I think, more truth to the Russian and Slavic ones, or the older ones, than there are to the watered down nature of the Grimm brothers ones, and certainly not the Disney ones.
Yeah.
Anyway, candy canes.
Yeah, let's say so.
Document 4666535814. Interview log. Audio log 4666-06201. Date January 2nd, 2018. Time 11:27 to 11:49 p.m. Alaskan Standard Time. Location.
Normal, you can tell this is a fairly early SCP. Years are redacted out, especially if it's in the 2000s. So yeah, this must be a Series 1 or Series 2 SCP, which I do think this is one of the first ones, so that does make sense. There was a bit of a glitch for a second there. Are you okay, Brainstormer? Hello? I think we may have lost Brainstormer momentarily. Or it seems like his internet may have glitched on him again.
Hello?
Okay, now you're back. What happened?
I lost connection for a second there.
Yep, I could tell because the screen did the little buffering thing, and that's
Alright.
usually a sign that your internet has committed mutiny.
Par for the course, unfortunately.
Almost a new year, same old technical difficulties.
What would it?
What?
Podcast wouldn't be anything without them.
Yeah, one day when we actually have enough subscribers to like justify putting up a subscribe star or something, we might be able to get some of these technical difficulties under control. Until that day, however, it's just how we roll, unfortunately, whether we like to roll that way or not.
Yeah. All right. Candy canes.
Candy canes.
I got nothing.
Yeah, candy canes.
Alright. That's actually rather horrifying.
It didn't play the audio on my end.
God damn it.
It's doing the thing again, I guess.
Hold on, let me roll it back.
Yep. Once more into the breach we go.
Did you hear it that time?
No.
God damn it. Okay, hold on.
This has been your regularly scheduled technical difficulties. Apparently.
Okay, let's try. Alright.
Hospital staff had previously removed
There
the
we go.
and sewn into her lips, allowing her to speak. Despite having been administered a morphine drip, the subject was largely coherent throughout the interview. The subject did not understand English and initially only spoke a language that was unfamiliar to agents Kowalczyk and Muse. However, after several minutes,
Okay, that time I heard it.
Okay. I don't really have anything to say, really.
No, it's still kind of in media res. There's not really anything to comment on other than Jesus Christ, what this little girl went through.
And she still died in the end.
Well, I mean, sure. I'm assuming that in the Yule Man's like dimension there was some kind of magic keeping them alive, but she's not in the Yule Man's dimension anymore, so whatever he did to them or neglected to do to them catches up, I assume.
Alright. Candy canes?
Candy canes.
the subject began addressing the agents in Russian, which he spoke poorly. Agent Kowalczyk, who spoke rudimentary Russian, was able to conduct the interview without the need for an interpreter. This interview has been translated by my on-site AI, Acid. Playing log now.
Hello.
Still nothing. I don't really.
She spoke a language that wasn't recognizable to the MTF. Can we therefore conclude from that she was taken before modern day Russian had really taken hold? Meaning that she
I actually think it was mentioned earlier that this child was. I don't want to skip back because I don't know where it was, but I think it was mentioned that records wise she had something. So yeah, modern Russian. Huh.
right, but she can barely speak modern Russian. So she initially addressed them in a language that they were unfamiliar with. So can we conclude from that either A, she is from a time in like medieval or pre-medieval Russia before modern day Russian was spoken, or that she learned some ancient language of the Yulmans while she was in captivity of his.
I do think it's kind of hard to say, just simply because
Yeah, but either way, whether it's that she is from an older time and was kept young and alive by the Yulman's magic, or B, that she had been taught some kind of ancient sort of proto-Slavic language that is that is significantly different from modern Slavic
well, okay,
languages or from
I
modern
don't.
Russian.
I'm not entirely sure if she. I don't know if she'd be that old, because if she's barely able, that means she has some understanding, which means she'd have to understand a language that is similar to modern Russian.
Right, but that's the thing is she might have learned that while she was in captivity of the Yulman. If he's taking
Again, it's hard.
If he's taking kids that are more modern, she might have picked up a little bit of modern Russian as she went.
Right.
With
It's
them.
hard. Again, it's hard to say, just simply because we don't, to my understanding, because I haven't looked too much into the Yulman, we don't exactly know what happens to the kids per se when they're in his dimension.
Right.
So it's really a toss up at this point. Or just guess.
The two options that I can see are either she was born at a time where she was born speaking modern day Russian and then had to basically unlearn it to learn the ancient language of the Yulman while she was in his captivity, or she was born at a time speaking something other than modern day Russian and picked up little bits and pieces of modern day Russian as he captured more modern kids.
Right.
And she picked it up from them.
Well, we're just getting into the interview, so.
Right. Either way, it's interesting. I just wonder which of the two is more likely.
Candy canes?
Candy canes.
I am Anthony. What's your name?
Are you going to take me back to him?
No, I promise. I'm just here to talk to you.
I don't want to go back.
You don't have to. You're safe now, Mishka. Can you tell me what happened to you? Do you remember the night he came to your house?
I remember.
Damn it. Okay. Sorry. Pause button went weird there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's definitely sounds traumatized, which, I mean...
Yeah, I find it interesting that her first thought was someone was coming to take her back to him.
Which
Does
implies...
that mean...
Sorry.
Yeah, that seems to imply that the Yulman enjoys fucking with them, basically, giving them visions or nightmares of people being...
I was gonna say that implies, one, children have tried to escape the Yulman, and someone or something has brought them back to him.
Or he came and got them.
Yeah, either way, my point is, God damn it, I want to hear a story from the perspective of someone, or a story that focuses on what happens in that dimension. Because I'm curious in one, what does it look like? Because if it's supposed to be like a Santa thing, North Pole deal, and
if it takes a little bit from Krampus, then you're talking about an underworld at that point.
Yeah, and the kids are effectively supposed to be the elves in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, because clearly there is some Fey inspiration or of that sort.
Yeah, which means Slavic, Russian, Eastern European folklore. It's very much kind of a what if Santa and Krampus were the same person kind of thing.
The thing that intrigues me most here is, again, I'm saying Fey wise, if it's supposed to be look like the what's the word for the place of the land of the Fae? I don't want to say Feywild because I don't think that's it.
It has all sorts of different names.
Common term.
One of the older terms is Tir Nanog, or the land of the forever young. Although that's like an Irish Gaelic term. I'm not sure what the Slavic equivalent is.
Right,
I
but
know one of the Slavic names for the Fae is the Huldu folk. I'm not
right,
sure exactly how that translates though.
but I'm just. It's a place outside of regular reality. That's clear. That's evident enough. Because clearly, with like the Halloween store dudes.
Yeah, whoever wrote the Goblin Market SCP, which I can't fucking find anymore. But whoever wrote the Goblin Market SCP definitely was going the straight up, the world between the veil between worlds was thin, and these goblin type creatures are the people of the Autumn Lands. I think they even refer to themselves as that, the people who belong neither to cold, bitter winter nor hot, radiant summer.
Right. But there is something unique about wherever he takes them. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's obviously it's some type of hellscape because they're terrified of it, right? But
Well, judging from the kind of rituals we see him, or that we've heard about him doing to the families that he takes these kids from, and of course what we find out later in this interview, and the fact that all of these kids are, but I think the cutoff is like between the ages of like 3 and 12. And they're
which
all from north of 42 degrees latitude, and from like rural isolated communities. So you got to figure you're a 4 or 5-year-old, and you see all of that shit happen to your family, and then you get dragged into a bag, and then, well, we'll get on with the interview, I guess, before we. Anyway, candy canes.
yeah, give me a sec. Get that tab. Candy canes.
Remember the night he came to your house?
I remember. He heard Mama and Papa and Katya and Juliana for a long time, and they were bleeding. After they stopped screaming, he put me in his bag.
His bag.
He had
This. I'm not gonna lie. This was fucking with me a lot.
Yeah, this is like, it's remarkably and uniquely fucked up in the way that you want an SCP to be, and it does kind of make some kind of sense given like the origins of the like Santa mythos, and also when you factor in things like Krampus, or Black Peter, or Bartal, or any of the other sort of counterparts that Santa traditionally has. And if you factor in that he's specifically called the Yule Man, and that a lot of the references to like runes and stuff that he makes imply that he is a being that predates, like, this isn't a Christmas figure. This isn't an affectation of Christianity. This is probably even calling it pre-Christian or pagan is a little bit too simplistic, because it seems like this guy might even be from a time before humanity was out of the Stone Age. If he's supposed to be like the original Yule spirit, then that means that he's old even by like pre-Christian pagan standards.
I also want to point this out. The voice actor for the child is doing remarkably well.
Yeah,
Like,
she's doing an amazing job in that, like, you feel like you can feel by how much she's struggling to talk, or like she's talking as though she's having a difficulty talking, which is the kind of thing you would have happen if somebody had been beaten and brutalized in the way that has been described up until this point.
right, and what also just God, it's gut wrenching. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like I say, there is a very dark, very ancient underbelly to these kinds of fairy tales, and since this is the SCP universe's spin on one of those like dark Russian fairy tale type things, then it's all the darker because, well, somebody took the baseline of like Krampus and went, how can I make this even more ancient, eldritch, and fucked up?
Mm-hmm.
They
Anyway,
succeeded, I think. Yeah.
shall we candy?
We shall candy cane. Yes.
The big bag. Other children went in bag too. I think we go to other houses. I hear people screaming outside the bag, all during the night. Each house, they put another child in the bag. Then after the night, he take us away.
Okay, so clearly this bag is probably bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, because even if it were a huge bag, these are like, if he goes to, let's be conservative and say like 50 houses a night, that's still 50 children of about the age of, between 3 and 12 or thereabouts. So clearly this bag is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
Mm-hmm. I should wonder.
Anyway, candy canes.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay. Candy canes.
Where did he take you?
Underground.
Underground? You mean in a basement?
Deep. Everything earth and mud and ice. Bones.
Again, I'm reminded of Krampus and the idea of him taking kids to the underworld in like Slavic folklore. So
Yeah.
and of course, if he is born of like, if he's born of ancient Yule, then him being comfortable in realms of like ice and snow and darkness and mud does make sense. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Candy cane.
Candy canes.
Everywhere. Everything cold. I can't sleep because it's too cold.
Were there lots of children there with you?
Lots of children. Lots of tunnels. Lots of holes. But I can't see all.
Yeah, again, imagine this shit happening to people under the age of 13. Like, above the age of 3, below the age of 13. This is gonna really fuck up some people's heads. It would fuck up adults' heads, mind you, but imagine you're that young and this happens to you after seeing your entire family horribly butchered and then spending the whole night in a bag. Eep.
Candy canes?
Candy canes.
I can't see the other island. Go back. My always was Renee, Ekla, Sasha, and Paul. We make toys. Together.
The toys.
If you don't make the toys,
I mean, being as optimistic as possible, at least she had friends. Like, it could be, like, solitary confinement would probably still be worse than going through it with some people, so there is that.
Mm-hmm.
Candy canes.
Candy canes.
you don't eat. Don't stop making toys. Don't fall asleep or he hurt you.
He hurts you. How?
He hit you. He hit you. Or he burn you. Or he bite off your fingers. Or he cook you on the fire in the
This got dark. Very, very dark.
Oh, it gets darker, man. I just read the next line of text.
Yeah, I mean, it was already pretty freaking dark to begin with, but yeah, this gets dark. Candy canes.
Okay.
room and eat you. He eat Philip and Sally.
What about you?
Forcing your friend to make nothing. God, this puts like a pit in my stomach.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The
shall we?
the most demented of Slavic folklore meets the most demented of internet fan fiction in the form of the STP universe. This
Shall we
is
candy cane?
We Shall Candy Canes, yes.
They have to.
Why?
I get sick. When you can't make the toys, you become the toys.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yep. And now suddenly the crudeness of the construction makes a little bit more sense now.
Yeah.
That last, like, kudos to the person who wrote this, because that last line is gonna linger in my head for a while. If you can't make the toys, you become the toys. Yeah, thanks. That's
You'd be fucked. You realize that, right? Like you specifically, Don.
Yeah, but I can take comfort in the fact that as fucked up as this guy is, Queen Mab would be skinning him and wearing him as a parka in like 0.2 seconds.
Though in this scenario, you, if you were taken by him, you wouldn't technically be bound to her. You'd be too
No,
young.
no. Obviously, you know, now I'm far too old to be taken by him as per the SCP. However, all I'm saying is as dark as this guy is, I'm not actually that afraid of him because uh when you're on good terms with the biggest guy in the prison yard, as it were, you're not as afraid of becoming the prison bitch anymore. Um,
Fair enough. I don't know if there's any more, so shall we? Candy cane?
I think that's where it ends. But yeah, let's candy cane just to be sure.
Wow. Let's just get rid of this guy's face off of the monitor and let's all go and have a really good holiday and just take our minds off.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, what else can you fucking do from that, man? Like,
Which, you know, given the conceit of this particular YouTube channel is basically Dr. Miller is the guy who, or Researcher Miller in the early ones. He's the guy who like gives lectures on the SCPs to the incoming like agents and MTFs and stuff. Imagine being an agent in the class, and this is the lecture you're given like the week before the holidays.
I would probably really, really hope that my family is not up there in the north.
Yeah. Fortunately, I double checked, and the portion of Pennsylvania that I'm at is just outside of the 42 degrees latitude, so I wouldn't be eligible regardless. So yay.
Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think, like you said, that the rest would be just.
Yeah, I think it's just him thanking his subscribers and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay. I'll set up the next thing. Just give me a second.
Hmm. I still want to know what his criteria for good is in this context. That's the only thing that I find unsatisfying about this article. That and the fact that the toys aren't exactly a proportional reward for what he does if you're not good. But yeah, I do sort of wish that there was more clear criteria as to what constitutes good in his mind.
I just realized I was muted.
Womp.
So
What did you say while you were muted?
I said I found this about I think the first week of December.
Mhm.
I thought it was something fun we could watch. It's a short film called The Crisis at Christmas HQ. It's just under 5 minutes. It's 4 minutes 23 seconds. So I'm not going to spoil it. We're just going to watch, and any critiques or anything, mostly from Dalton, I assume, because he loves to critique all the stuff I send.
You're still miffed about that one time with the what if Tolkien elves and Christmas elves existed in the same universe thing, aren't you?
Not really. I get your point of view. I think it was just a bit overdone.
Well, I'm sorry. I can't turn mine off any more than you can turn your perpetual fountain of new ideas off. And I wouldn't even if I could.
Fair enough. Speaking of which, we got things to talk about after the stream.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me. Okay. Shall we candy cane?
We shall candy cane. Yes.
Also, I do want to point out this apparently. I looked. The closed captions are auto-generated, and I don't like that. So we just have to pay attention to the audio close enough to listen. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, candy cane.
Candy canes.
Well, for one thing, I appreciate the visual effects. Look really good.
Mm-hmm. What
Thank you.
does that what does the text say? I can't. It's not close enough for me to read it.
Well, some child sent in a letter to Santa, and basically it was scanning into the computer, asking for a pet lion, and basically it's doing like the automated thing of like it's checking if the kid Julian is on a nice list, which he is on the nice list. Gift request a real pet lion, and gift modified to a toy lion, and tickets to the zoo.
Aw.
It's all very corporatized. Christmas is corporatized here.
Well, I mean, sure. After a while, it would probably be just for the sake of efficiency at that point.
No, I agree. I agree. I think the issue I would have if Christmas was corporatized in this kind of way would be if it lost its soul. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the efficiency thing. I'm fine with that.
It's a little bit like remember in the Tim Allen Santa Claus movie how there were those like commando elves that came to break him out of prison, or like in the DreamWorks short Prep and Landing.
Was that Dream? I don't think that was DreamWorks.
Was it? I thought it was.
No, no, it's Pixar.
But you know what I mean, Prep and Landing.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it always played on ABC, so.
Yeah. Also, speaking of like this kind of variation on Christmas,
Arthur Christmas too.
Yeah, Arthur Christmas did that. Also, the Jackie Chan Adventures episode, the Jolly J Team Xmas, which I watched. I rewatched recently on Christmas Eve because when the hell else are you gonna watch? Be able to watch Christmas specials, and there was like a SWAT team elf in there named Elvin, and I really liked him too. Also, speaking of minor sub rant, how the hell did Dalon Wong think he was going to kidnap Santa and not prepare himself for the use of elf magic? Like, in a universe where Santa is an actual dude, like an actual human being, where you know the elves assist him with their magic all the time, like, if I were a dark wizard in such a setting, and I wanted to kidnap and suck the good magic out of Santa, surely preparing for elf magic was like the you had one job requirement there. Like it is very much a you had one job sort of moment. Like not to tell villains how to do villainy or anything, but it is a kind of you attempted to kidnap Santa Claus in a universe where his magic is mostly reliant on the magic of elves, and yet you didn't prepare for elf magic. You had one job. Anyway, Teddy Kittens.
Right. Yep. Let me get to. Candy canes. I don't really say for that. It's just kind of setting things up. So
Yeah, this would. I wish this were a longer movie or something because this would make a really good trailer.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, candy canes.
Candy canes.
Stop the machines.
We won't finish in time.
I can't explain now. Just shut it down and get Santa here quickly.
You know Santa will be sleeping.
Well, let's wake him up.
Okay, I love the like deadpan seriousness of this.
Yeah.
Also, small thing. I was just thinking about the pet lion thing. Not that the stuffed lion and the tickets to the zoo isn't cute and everything, but you probably could do one better by getting the kid a cat. Like, especially because I believe there is one kind of cat that does kind of look like a mini lion cub. I believe it's called the Serengeti cat or a Bengal cat. Just a thought.
Yeah, but I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I think logistically it would make. I don't think that would run well with the parents. So I think you'd have to ask the parents.
I mean, sure, but like in terms of trying to keep the request as close to the original request as possible, like getting an actual kitten, even if it were just a generic domestic cat, probably would help things along too.
Fair enough. Maybe a tiger cat or something, because I've had those.
Right, and like I said, there are like specialty breeds of cat that do sort of look like mini lion cubs. So, like in terms of like defanging the request enough that it's obviously not going to be a danger to the kid, but still keeping close enough to the parameters of the request that it complies with the kid's actual wish, kind of thing. This is the kind of this is the kind of thing that makes me wonder if there must be like some kind of human or elf oversight committee to this computer at this point for moments like that where it's like, okay, can we at all tweak this to make it even more accurate to the kid's original request, kind of thing. Anyway, candy canes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me that someone has all of our databases? Even the backups?
Yes, sir. And the names on the naughty or nice list are scrambled up.
Okay, so we have some naughty kids on the nice list.
Some nice kids on the naughty list, exactly, sir. The original list is lost.
Damn.
Why the fuck isn't this a movie? God damn it!
This actually, like, obviously it works as like a really like deadpan dark comedy, but it actually, that thought actually does, especially with the way they delivered it, it actually does have some kind of dramatic oomph to it. Because
Yeah,
like
I-
how many Christmas villain characters have been the result of, I was good all year and I really, really wanted this really random obscure thing, but then it went wrong because I guess I was on the naughty list or something. Like that's almost every like modern day Christmas villain in a nutshell. So imagine how many of those kind of villains is going to be created by the concept of the naughty and nice list getting shuffled.
Don, I want to point this out. You're invested into this, I assume,
Mm-hmm.
and it's only a minute 20 of the video.
God damn it! Give this
4-minute and 23-second video.
Yeah, give whoever made this short film a like $20 to $40 million budget.
It's actually
Like,
amazing. It's amazing how many like short films I have seen on YouTube that are so well made and well crafted that it really makes me like consider why the guy's not. I mean, I'm fully aware of why they don't really get a big chance. They ever get a chance.
It's because Hollywood are full of a bunch of idiots who don't actually know good quality if it bit them in the ass. But like, imagine if this premise, and these aesthetics had been given a budget similar to like not even like a big blockbuster budget, but like think in terms of give this creative team a budget similar to something like Violent Night from last year. How much they could do with that.
Anyway,
Yeah. Candy canes.
this actually reminds me. There, October. I might have some video suggestions to watch for October then.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, candy canes.
Well, why don't we want to pass this year and put every kid on the list?
So every it's a gift.
Exactly.
I'm afraid that's impossible. We don't.
Okay.
I get his.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say I get guy's point, but I really don't think that's a good idea at all.
Yeah, you might wind up encouraging bad behavior at that point.
Yeah. I think it would be a dumb idea. I think the only true logical thing to do would be to cancel Christmas that year as you try to figure everything. Like I don't like it, but
okay, but here's the thing, and this is me thinking of exceptions, because like obviously computer technology is fairly new, all things considered, like the last 30-40 years at best. So clearly there was a method to watch kids, probably a magical one, before this monitoring program came online. So why not just default back to that for a while, or at least double check the list using that, and then you can
I mean,
and
you gotta list
then
check it twice, right?
yeah, and then at the very least you can cross check this program with whatever mystical method was used beforehand, and then you can use the mystical method as kind of the backup option or the analog option when the digital one goes haywire to fix the digital version.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking in like practical terms. Yeah. Candy canes.
Again, as much as you can kind of tell the budget, I appreciate that it's still well made. Like, it looks professional.
Yeah, and the acting is really good because they're definitely like obviously they know it's a semi-comedic setup, but also they're doing their damnedest to take it as deadpan seriously and like corporately as possible.
Yeah. Anyway, candy canes.
Candy canes.
Have the resources to millions of extra gifts.
And then everyone gets coal.
It's Cole. Really? Do you have any idea the backlash we'd get?
Yeah, it would put us in rough standing for a
It
time.
would be rough, but our savings would be immense. And then next year we would have extra to spend to restore our image.
Okay.
God,
problem.
That's so corporate. That is so corporate.
Problem. That means you're not rewarding the kids who were actually good enough. Like it's the exact opposite problem as giving everyone a gift has. It's in the case of giving everyone a gift, you wind up rewarding everyone irrespective of behavior. Well, in the case of giving everyone coal, you wind up punishing kids who did the right thing right along with the bad kids. At which point what incentive do the good kids have to do good things if they're going to get punished regardless?
Again, keeping in line with this world that is currently shown to us, which doesn't seem to have any real mysticism to it, I think legitimately canceling Christmas for 1 year would be the best option, given the two extremes were shown here.
Yeah, but again, there must have been some analog method for monitoring kids. So why not just default back to that until the digital version can be fixed? Or better yet, use the analog version to cross-check the digital version, and then that expedites the fixing of the digital version quicker.
How? Either way,
anyway, yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just I want to point out the thing she was saying at the coal thing.
Fuck you, random North Pole corporatist bitch.
She's the one who shut it down. She's the one who shut it down. It called in Santa when it was when the naughty list and nice list were getting scrambled. So
yeah, I liked you until just now, little Miss Corporate bitch. But
said, man, that sounds so corporate, so fucking corporate, and
punishing the good kids along with the bad kids because we were too lazy to fix our to fix our digital program and or to pull our analog or mystical version out of mothballs. Yeah, no, fuck you. The world doesn't have to pay for your incompetence.
All right. Give me a second.
Candy canes.
Candy cane.
Yeah, I say every kid gets coal. It's a good idea, given the circumstances.
No, it isn't.
Trust me when I tell you, you do not want to give a nice kid coal.
Thank you for
22.
speaking reason.
That's Santa.
Yep. As usual, Santa is the sane person in the room in this scenario.
I dig the business casual thing he's got going. I know, I'll be honest, I hate that term just because fucking
But it makes sense in the context of treating the North Pole like a government organization or a corporation.
Yeah.
Well, while still obviously being Santa.
Um, Candy canes?
Candy canes.
2 years ago, I mixed up the lists without knowing it. That was the year one kid worked extra hard to be nice. He deserved to be on that nice list more than any other kid.
Okay, this is just sad. This is gut wrenching now. God damn.
That's the Grinch. Alternate take on the Grinch story.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense. And I mean, it's not that dissimilar from like the Grinch from the Jim Carrey version. I have not now, nor do I ever intend to watch the Illumination Benedict Cumberbatch version because I already
I'll be
have
honest,
two versions of it that are awesome, so I don't need
I'll be honest.
like
I thought that thing was. Wait, did it come out?
the Benedict Cumberbatch Illumination version. Yeah,
I thought it was
came out.
canceled, to be honest.
No, it came out like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It might have been 2019.
I don't know.
From what I remember of it, it was bad, and I had no intention of adding it to the rotation. I still every year watch How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Chuck Jones version, and the Jim Carrey version, but I'm not adding the Benedict Cumberbatch Illumination version. Does not belong in the rotation.
All right. Anyway, candy canes.
Candy canes.
But I messed it all up. And that messed him up.
See that?
Which, like I said earlier, this makes perfect sense. If kids are working their asses off to be good, and you treat them as if they've been bad, then you are going to screw up their sense of right and wrong eventually. Also, poor little mini Grinch. Reminds me of the Drake and Josh Christmas special where the kid really, really wanted a monkey and the monkey ended up mauling him, and that's what soured him on Christmas.
Yep.
Because this is literally the backstory of like 90 or 80, like 80% of the 80% of the Christmas antagonists are people who Christmas failed at some point and failed severely.
Mm-hmm.
So this makes perfect sense.
I
Candy
feel like
canes.
actually, sorry, it's just this shot right here. That is fucking again, man. If you're scouting for someone to give you a new take on something, Really look online because it is like YouTube, like it's a platform where a lot of creative people have worked on.
Well, it's just like I don't understand why Marvel and DC don't when they're looking for new artists go to places like DeviantArt and stuff.
Okay. Well, Warner Brothers kind of did with the director of Shazam because he was a YouTuber doing stuff. Though, granted, he got in for a horror of Lights Out, which he expanded into a film. So,
Didn't they also use like internet concept art of Pokemon for Detective Pikachu?
I have no idea.
I'm
never
pretty sure
watched.
they did. I had heard that, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure they got their inspiration for how to do Pokemon in live action from online AI generated stuff.
I mean, I'm gonna be plain honest. I haven't seen that movie.
It's actually pretty good.
I'm not saying it's not good. It looks good from what I remember seeing of it, like the trailers and stuff. But again, Pokemon. I never really grew up on Pokemon. Pokemon wasn't really my thing. I was more Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I agree. Pokemon was never really my thing either, but I still have some appreciation for it.
Yeah,
Because, like, I guess that's one of the differences from when you grew up versus when I grew up. I grew up right in the dead center of Pokemon mania, so even though Pokemon wasn't exactly my thing, I still did find bits and pieces of it that I liked. So I was excited when they announced Detective Pikachu and finally doing Pokemon in live action.
look, if they do a live action Yu-Gi-Oh, you'll see me jumping up and down like a little child at Christmas.
They really need to. You know who they should cast as Pegasus if they
Michael
ever do a live action one?
Michael Sheen. You've said this before.
Well, Michael Sheen would be a good choice too, but also Jason Isaacs.
Huh.
He played.
He does have the face. He does have the face for it. Yeah.
He played Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies, and I want to say he was also Prince Nawada in Hellboy 2, wasn't he?
No, that wasn't him.
Okay, but I want to. I'm pretty sure Jason Isaacs played Lucius Malfoy, and if he played Pegasus similar to the way he played Lucius, that could really work. That being said, if he could be persuaded to, the original English dub voice actor for Pegasus really loved playing the character, so at the very least, if they cast Jason Isaacs as Pegasus in the live action Yu-Gi-Oh version, they should have the guy who voiced him in the dub give him pointers at least.
But like I said, this shot here, which I think they actually the flaming tree is practical. The flaming Christmas tree is practical. Like that looks practical. Hell, even the digital thing look like it has photorealism to it, like in terms of like the lighting and stuff.
Well done.
It's just
Take notes, Hollywood.
It pisses me off because this is really good. I wish we could see some. Like, don't get me wrong, there are creative shows out there, there are well-made shows out there. I'm not going to deny that, but those are very few and far between.
Yeah, and given how much of a resource the internet could be if they got over themselves for 5 minutes and used it as a resource rather than. And this is the other thing. They deliberately spite the fan base at every turn. They deliberately spite the on-the-ground creatives at every turn. And they wonder why Hollywood is currently in the shitter. Like, gee, when we tell our fan base that everything they like and want is wrong and immoral and bad and shameful and nerdy and derp, they don't end up coming to see what we put out or liking what we do put out if they do see it. It's almost like we should treat these IPs as if they matter to people because they do, or something. that's it absolutely floors me because Hollywood loves, for some fucking reason, they love the concept of the focus group, and yet they don't see the obvious thing that the internet is basically the world's largest focus group.
Right.
Sure, you might occasionally get trolled, like with the Rick and Morty Szechuan sauce incident, or like with, 4chan rallying to bring back Morbius a second time. But for every time you get trolled like that, you'll get 1,000 Sonic the Hedgehogs or Jokers out of it. And maybe I'm just being overly optimistic, but I think putting up with the occasional Szechuan sauce incident or Morbius incident would be worth having 10 times the amount of Jokers or Mario Brothers the movie or Sonic the Hedgehog moments. And it would certainly help the public opinion of these studios if they actually at least feigned to give a shit about the fan base and use the internet as a resource rather than demonizing it as the devil.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah. Candy canes.
Give me 1 second. Okay.
He was only one kid. Who knows what happened to so many others that year?
So guys, the machines are running again, and we don't know how. Santa, I think you should see this.
I want this to be a movie. I really do.
It should be a movie. Next time you reboot The Grinch, guys. Next time you reboot The Grinch, do this.
Yeah. Anyway, shall I?
Candy canes.
Candy canes.
It's him. Sent out a team to find him.
Why do I feel like this is kind of sort of connected to the Santa versus Grinch fight scene we saw last year?
It could easily have been, yes.
I kind of, maybe, I don't know. Maybe if we have time, we'll watch that again.
Candy canes.
Candy canes.
He has our list.
This is good. I like this. It was good.
Yeah, and this is why you don't fail the people that deserve it, or treat them equally to the people who do deserve bad things. That is how you make a villain. Anyway, next thing. I think someone in my house is watching Harry Potter movies because I can hear the music in the background.
It's taking a second, so give me a second on that.
Mhm.
Okay. So again, this is kind of just my week, just because really there are no other like interesting articles for us to cover currently.
Yeah, I didn't actually get a chance to look today because, like I said, like I mentioned a brainstormer before we came on air. Everyone in my house needed to use the shower before I did, and so I wound up not getting in the tub until like 6 o'clock, and it takes me like 3 hours to bathe usually. So I was literally hopping on like 5 minutes before showtime today.
3 hours. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm not gonna judge or anything. It's just 3 hours.
I usually wash my hair like 3 separate times to make sure I get all of it. And also, it takes forever for my tub to actually fill up with water all the way because we had to replace the spout that actually came with our tub, and the new one has a much
Has it?
smaller spout in it, so it takes forever to
Uh,
actually fill.
okay. I mean, I don't. The hair thing. I mean, I keep my hair short, so I cannot relate at all. And that's also one of the many reasons I don't grow out my hair.
Hmm. Well, I do and did and will forever, despite how much my brother teases me and tells me I should cut my hair.
Well, for one thing, you ain't Samson, so
No.
I don't. You're not Samson. I don't get the point of having that, having your hair if you having someone's hair if you doesn't give you power or something.
Well, I mean, it definitely increases my general like wizard vibeness. So in a way, it sort of does.
I mean, if you grew a longer beard, that now actually wizard vibe would be a bald head with a super long beard.
No, not
Okay,
not my not my kind of wizard. My kind of wizard is more the like wandering gentleman trickster devil type. The the what is it? The Southern Gothic Satan trope, the like Randall Flagg or Leland Gaunt type thing, and that's definitely that definitely is more that definitely works more with the long hair than it would with short hair or bald. Anyway, candy canes.
right, well, I do want to give some context here. So this is from a YouTubing comedy duo called Chris and Jack. This is the Secret Santa. This came out, I believe, this year or last year. I can't remember.
Well, scroll down and it should say the date in the video description.
Yeah, give me a second then. It's about it's 7 minutes and 18 seconds. Yeah, okay, no, it came out this year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 4 weeks ago. So okay.
Would have been the first week in December then, or the
Yeah.
last week in November.
So it's like one of those YouTube comedians that actually is funny because they put a lot of effort and work into their skits and actually are rather talented, I think.
Hmm.
Like, I think they've been around like Tom Ska since like the early 2010s. Like, the guy who did the Santa who killed the little girl, no witnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's just a lot of creative people on YouTube that I don't think ever really get the spotlight for some reason.
The internet has an untapped well of talent that for some reason the establishment refuses to ever acknowledge. And And moreover, instead of acknowledging or making use of the internet's talent, they actively demonize the internet's talent as much as possible. And they wonder why the internet at large, and therefore the people on the ground at large, wind up turning on them. Well, gee,
Yeah.
when you tell the internet that it is the devil, most of the people who use the internet aren't particularly fond of you at that point. And the
I mean,
sad truth is, especially in today's day and age, the people who use the internet are most of the people on the ground in the real world, at least in the West.
mhm. Yeah. Also, fun fact: this does have actual captions to it, like closed captions. So,
Candy canes.
give me a second. Tab. All right. Candy canes.
As I'm sure my elves informed you, I love to interview each of you every year. So I know who's out there representing me.
Of course, sir. It's an honor.
All right. Looks like you'll be at the Crestwood County Mall between the Auntie Anne's and the Spencer's Gifts. Medium traffic, standard age distribution. You've lost weight.
I have.
Okay, maybe this is just a my mall thing, but I'm pretty sure that every mall that is still open must have an Auntie Anne's pretzels and a Spencer's Gifts store.
Oh
in it.
God, Auntie Anne's pretzels. God, I haven't had those in like maybe a decade.
Every time I go to the mall, I always make sure to get a plain salted pretzel with caramel dip, because that is
I always get the pretzel bites. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind the big pretzels and stuff, but I love pretzel bites, man. Especially when they're fresh.
I mean, pretzel bites are tasty and everything, and they're not. I'm not in any way opposed to them, but if I'm going to go and get pretzels, I usually get two. I usually get 2 pretzels and 2 containers of caramel dip, because that to me is just perfect. Like that to me is such a, like, so many good memories are wrapped up in me going to the mall and getting a pretzel with caramel dip. Like that is my golden.
Full honesty, I've only ever been to a mall roughly like a handful of times. Maybe
I haven't gone super a lot either, but every time I went to the mall, I would and this might be just me being a pestering little shit, but I always asked my mom every time we went to the mall if we could get pretzels.
Yeah. So I do like this. Sorry. Just kind of getting back on topic of the video. I like the idea that Santa is interviewing all the mall Santas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that includes like the street corner Santas and stuff too, the ones that like ring the bells for charity and stuff. I would think it probably would, because as he says, he likes to know who is representing him.
Yeah. But again, you're gonna I don't know, and feel free to chime in on this. I'm getting the sense, like with the last one, Christmas is kind of corporatized here.
Which again, or it sort of has to be for the sake of efficiency.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's just interesting that in a lot of adaptations or like stories about Christmas in terms of modern day, it does seem to be that kind of corporatization of it.
I mean, even the Santa Claus, Santa Claus with an E, has the whole magical contract of passing the mantle of the Santa down.
Yeah.
As the years go by. That might be my favorite explanation as to how this whole Santa thing works, because it makes a bizarre amount of sense to me.
Let me rewind this back just because I feel like I paused in the middle of a setup of a joke. I'm just gonna go back about 10 seconds. Okay, 5 should do. Okay. Candy canes?
Candy cans.
Anne's and the Spencer's Gifts. Medium traffic, standard age distribution. You've lost weight.
I have. Yeah, thank you. I did a Tough Mudder.
It wasn't a compliment.
Yeah. Well, I was planning on wearing some padding to kind of fill out the suit.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't think it reads as well. I feel like kids can note the artifice, but yeah.
Okay, I'm sure Santa in this context, and I am thinking the same thing here. Why would you lose weight when you knew full well you were going to be playing Santa in the mall that year?
But it's also like he literally, like he said as well. It's like I'm sure kids can kind of tell that it's fake.
Well, yeah, I know, and that's added fuel for the fire. I'm just saying, like, from the perspective of the the Secret Santa at this point, why would you intentionally lose weight when you knew you were going to be playing Santa? That like.
Yeah,
that's for all the setup is funny and everything. I would just be calling that guy stupid at that point. Like, you're going to lose weight and then play Santa. That, do you not see how that's completely counterintuitive in every conceivable dimension? It's literally setting yourself up to fail for a job that you yourself are choosing to do, kind of thing. Like, what?
Anyway, shall we?
Yep. Candy canes.
Candy canes.
And beard-wise, also a dumb fake?
Well, I was going to go with something nice, hopefully like a really nice prosthetic, or maybe I could just go with a mustache, like you.
I got beard magic, kid. This thing will be past my tits by Tuesday. What do you think your maximum weight capacity is for knee bounces? Because some of these kids these days, whoo boy, fat.
That is a good question, and a question that would probably need to be asked in this context.
The beard or the knee bounces?
The knee bounce thing. Because of
Yeah.
childhood obesity.
I feel somewhat targeted and offended at that, actually.
I wasn't thinking of you when I said that, but
I was okay. Thank you for that, because I was joking.
You selected yourself for offense that time. You walked into it.
Okay. You didn't have to. Okay, whatever. But that is a good question. I'll be honest. I was in I think I was like 11 when I ever first met Santa, like a mall Santa.
Mm-hmm.
Did not hold the same magic. I'll be fully honest.
No, not at that age. No, I wouldn't think so.
Well, to be fair, I was also in foster. I had a lot of shit happen to me up until that point.
Yeah,
so.
your life was very grimdark for a bit there, my friend.
Still kind of is, but keep on trucking.
I do admire your optimism, because most people, if they had gone through the shit that you had gone through, would not be maintaining that optimism. That's why I often tease you and call you things like a cinnamon roll, because for as like Punisher-esque as your life can sometimes be, the fact that you wind up with a far more like Captain America-esque or Superman-esque moral compass is to your credit, I think. I don't understand it, but I don't have to understand it to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. But okay, shall we?
Candy canes.
Candy canes.
I don't know, 60 pounds a knee.
Let me see your lat photo smile.
Right. Oh, like right now?
Yeah. Good. That's good. Okay, and now are the kids squirmy? Mm-hmm. Baby's crying? Good, that's good. Okay, and you notice the mom's kind of hot? Great. Indigestion?
I mean,
it would. Okay, funny story about this, and this is now going to turn into me relaying an anecdote that I probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
I'm scared.
Like my my mom had me at the age of 17, so she's always been younger than you would think she was for having a kid who is now 28 and so on. And also my mom has always aged very, very minimal and aged very, very well. And I bring this up to point out that when I was a senior in high school, we went on the senior trip, as you do. And my mom dropped me off at the school the night before the senior trip, as you do, because, you know, it was a long trip, and so we were meeting at the school prior to, you know, we were meeting at the school, like, late, so that we could drive up the next day to where we ended up going was Virginia Beach. That's not important to the story. But I swear to you, every single guy my age immediately started staring at my mom as soon as she walked in. And then for like 20 minutes after she left, I had to sit there and listen to all of the like hottest guys in my grade talking about how hot my mom was. And of course, the fact that I had crushes on several of them probably didn't help matters at all. But this wasn't actually an isolated incident, because a couple of years ago, my mom went to a bar, a local bar we have, and someone in my graduating class was there, and it was a guy that I knew by the name of Anthony Saxberry, and he started hitting on her. At which point she just started laughing because, you know, her oldest son was in the same age as this guy that was hitting on her. And then she mentioned my name, and he got this look. My mom told me about this secondhand. He got this look on his face like, oh, and then he said, so that's why everyone used to talk about how hot Dalton's mom was. And that was just a couple of years ago. So I have unironically been the victim of this situation where people my own age are still to this day hitting on my mom. It's the most frustrating and bizarre fucking thing I think I've ever experienced. But like, I don't. Also, it's speaking of this unintentionally happening stories. The last time I went to the doctor, it was the Botox injections appointment for my legs, and the receptionist for the doctor's office assumed that me and my mom were a couple because she looked young enough to be dating me, I guess.
What the
Yeah, no, it seriously happened. And my mom and I were both just sitting there like, oh my fucking god, I can't believe that just happened.
Oh my god. What the
So yeah, apparently my mom is aging like fine freaking wine because she still apparently can pass for someone who would be dating someone my age. Which is somewhat mildly traumatizing if you happen to be a kid and everyone is hitting on how hot your mom was and is in perpetuity.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, so shall we?
Yes. Candy canes.
Candy canes. Hold on. Okay. There we go.
Oh, what's that sound? What do I hear? What do I hear? And you just remember you left the oven on? Now you're sort of panicking about your own financial well-being. You never got fire insurance. What's going to happen to your house? You're worried about your upstairs neighbor, Margaret? Okay, a little more. Great. Okay. And then on the day, let's just try to make sure some amount of jolliness gets into your actual eyes. A little dead. Okay. Pop.
That's just good. Like, I got none. I really got none.
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Moving on. Candy canes.
Quiz. 10-year-old kid asked for an Xbox. What do you say?
If you were a good boy all year, then maybe we might consider something.
Oh, let me stop you right there. First thing you do is you make a visual assessment of the parent's income. Okay. Okay, rich kids get rich kid presents. Poor kids get poor kid presents.
Okay, and why is that?
Why is what?
Just if you can create any toy up here and deliver it to anywhere in the world, why wouldn't you just give them the Xbox?
Ouch. I am now no longer liking the Santa so much. I was on his side
okay,
until
so
like 5 seconds ago.
I've already seen this, so like I watched this because I needed to make sure we could, if it was worth our time, and I do think it is. So I'm not gonna say shit, but just keep this in mind with what he said.
I just like this
make
is the main problem with the Santa concept in settings where he actually exists, because you would have to either have Santa deliver gifts above the family's means sometimes, or you would have to explain this. Like I remember in Terry Pratchett's Hogfather, when Death was subbing for the Hogfather, who was the Santa equivalent of the Discworld universe, he specifically balked at this because his friend Albert was trying to help him fill in for the Hogfather, and he started spewing the you have to give people presents within their means, and Death was just like, no, I am delivering what they deserve based on how good they were, and that's it. because Death is based in the Discworld universe.
But, I'm just gonna say again with what he said, keep that in a mental checklist.
I am holding it against this particular incarnation of Santa. Shame,
That's
sir.
fine.
Shame on you.
That's fine. I'm just saying, remember that as we continue on.
Yep. Moving on. Candy canes.
Come on. There we go.
Sorry. Whoa. Are you accusing me of perpetuating and normalizing class disparities in hopes of suppressing any potential elf rebellions against me? No. Then you ain't paying attention. Next question. As Santa, where will I see yourself in 5 years?
Well, hopefully you'll see me with my own business. I'd love to open a vintage, toy shop.
Okay, now, like, I was a little bit ago calling this guy kind of stupid for losing weight and then immediately being Santa because that was kind of dumb. But okay, now this guy I like. But the thing about the whole normalizing class disparities, because Elf Rebellion, as I said to the socialist parody article about the elves a couple of weeks ago, these are freaking elves. They are in their nature is encoded feudal hospitality and honor code systems. So
again,
classism doesn't really apply to elves.
Again, Dom, just keep that. Just add that to a list of things.
Right. Exhibit B in the case against this particular Santa.
You'll see why in a bit. Just
the elves are gonna wind up protesting, aren't they?
I'm not saying shit.
Okay. Anyway, candy canes.
Yeah. Candy canes.
Wow, cool. Fresh idea.
Yeah.
Hey, you like reindeer?
I love reindeer. I've never seen one in person outside of a zoo.
For lunch, I mean.
Sorry?
Hey, Alice, could you put in an order for a couple of doner kebabs? Yeah, and 1 cheese blitzen. Thank you, sweetheart.
I'm not hungry.
Okay, I want to review a past nice list removal on your record here.
Okay, this is slowly getting dark, and I sort of hope now that our intrepid mall Santa replaces this Santa as the main Santa.
Just wait.
Okay, candy canes.
I'm not spoiling it, but again, just keep adding the list of this, tally marks to this shit. You'll get it.
Okay, the prosecution makes note of Exhibit C against this particular incarnation of Santa.
All right.
The case of Christmas loving people versus this incarnation of Santa Claus has now gained its Exhibit C.
I'm sorry. I rarely get to gloat about this, but it's so fun that I know shit you don't. I know something you don't. I'm. It's so fun to know. Okay, but yeah, candy canes.
I want to make sure that you've outgrown certain behaviors.
Right. Yes, when I was 7. I've been wondering about this.
June 11th, you were on the playground, you hit somebody with the old ring finger fake out?
Yeah, I think I've outgrown that behavior. Just to be clear, though, that's kind of like a light reason to put someone on the naughty list. That kind of messed me up for a while.
Okay, look around. Yeah? Because pretty much everything at this poll is paid for by coal lobbyists.
Okay, the prosecution would like to make note of Exhibit C in the case of Christmas loving people versus this particular incarnation of Santa Claus.
D, not C. You already did C.
Exhibit D.
Coal lobbyists, huh? Is that a thing? Is that actually a thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Coal lobbyists are indeed a thing because fossil fuel lobbyists are probably the most influential lobbyists in politics, unfortunately. It's one of the reasons why we can't, despite the obvious benefits to nuclear power, we can't talk about nuclear power because the fossil fuel industry is so entrenched into our political paradigms.
All right, but ring finger fake out. I like that. That's funny as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's keep going because I really want to see your reaction to the all payoff of all this like evidence against this Santa.
Yeah, the prosecution momentarily rests, and we candy cane.
Candy cane.
So, not my problem, guy. And then at this point, I'm supposed to ask if you have any questions for me, but I think we can just buzz past that, right?
Oh, amazing. Yeah, actually, I do. How old are you?
5002 Advent calendars.
Why the North Pole?
No extradition policy.
You can literally see anybody at any time?
No, not anytime. No, just when you're asleep. Like, I see you when you're sleeping, and I know when you're awake because that's the point at which I stop seeing you.
What? Okay, one, how the hell was that system set up in the first place? Two, what sense does that make? Like, you can't really monitor kids' behavior when they're sleeping because, well, no one can control their behavior when they're sleeping. The prosecution would like to make note of Exhibit E.
On what grounds?
On the grounds of utilization of Christmas magic in a way that makes no logical sense and or would be inadmissible to the naughty versus nice index. You can't gather information. You can't gather information on childhood behavior simply based on when kids are sleeping, because no one has conscious control over themselves when they sleep, and or in most cases it wouldn't even be an indicator of any behavior whatsoever, because barring like sleep paralysis or sleepwalking, most people hold relatively still when they're sleeping. The only information you'd be able to gain from that is how disturbed or not is a child during their sleep hours.
So how long are Advent calendars?
25 days.
Okay, so 5002 times 25 then. That's asking how old he is.
Mm-hmm.
I have a calculator, give me a second. I'm curious. Okay, so 2 times 25. So that would be days then. So that's 1,025. 125,050 days. Then convert that to
years.
Okay.
Divided by 365.
365. Okay, I'm gonna have to round this up. That would roughly be 343 years.
So clearly, this isn't the first incarnation of Santa, because the concept of Santa and or like equivalents, such as the Holly King or the Yule Father, or even probably if we're including like the Discworld timeline in this, like the concept of something like the Hogfather has also existed for longer than that. So yeah, I'm going to assume that this is not the first incarnation of Santa, which leads up to the question of how exactly does one get anointed as Santa in the first place.
Also, no extradition policy in the North Pole, which I guess kind of makes sense because it technically isn't a nation.
Yeah, the closest places you'd find would be some parts of Russia, or maybe like Nunavut or Iqaluit, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that off the top of my head because of research I did for the Lionhearted, which the viewers will learn about as and when we finally get that off the ground.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
God, it's taking us forever. Anyway, shall we candy cane?
We shall candy canes.
Really interpreted the lyric that way, but that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you transport all those gifts? How big is your sack?
That's a personal question.
Oh, no. Okay, last one, big one. How do you do it all? How do you visit millions of homes all in one night?
Do you know the film The Prestige?
No.
Okay, well, every year.
Oh dear. As someone who has regrettably seen the film The Prestige, I think I know where this is going. And this is so dark. Candy canes.
Yep. Okay.
On the night of the eve, I hop into a chimney up here at the North Pole, and I am instantly cloned through a wormhole into every Santa-believing household on Earth. But then how is there only one Santa, you ask? Well, each clone is programmed with what I like to call the lactose contingency, a fatal allergy to milk. They set out their presents, they stuff the stockings, they cozy up.
That's actually someone ingenious, I will admit that.
In the same way that Dr. Draken could sometimes be ingenious, yes.
It's psychotic and kind of stupid when you really consider it, but efficient to get rid of clones, I'll be fully honest.
I mean, yeah, but now I really want this incarnation of Santa to get replaced by the end, because the prosecution now adds exhibits F through lambda, because I ran out of letters of the alphabet and am now having to use the Greek one, because I'm pretty sure that's roughly a billion or so cases of murder and preemptive murder or premeditated murder every year on the year for the last,
I mean, it's technically
200 years or so, give or take.
It's technically him, so he's killing himself.
Okay,
So,
but they're clones and they're genetically different from him because of the lactose thing. So yeah, no, I'm calling it murder. I'm calling it premeditated. I'm calling it repeated.
yeah, okay, so again,
repeated premeditated mass murder.
You might. Let's continue. Again, I know where this all goes, so.
Yeah, candy canes.
Up with a little milk and cookies, and then all but one of us instantly drops dead, crumples into a heap under a tree, waiting to be shoved in a sack by some body disposed of. Every year I get into that chimney and I just pray that I'm still me, that I'm the Santa who gets to come home this Christmas.
Wait, body disposal. That means the elves can teleport quickly enough and efficiently enough to dispose of all the bodies. So
Or they could be taking cars and stuff, vans.
okay, but they would still have to dispose of the body quickly enough that neither the parents nor the children would notice. So either way, there's some elf magic involved, and seeing as there's some elf magic involved, why not just have the elves do it and cut out the middle mass murder man?
Well, it also implies that with the teleporting thing, with just one clone Santa, that implies that the original Santa has been dead for a very long time. And that the clone that does survive every year ultimately ends up, it's an endless cycle of death and renewal.
Yeah, again, I asked the question, could we not find a way to do this without all of the mass gen Santa side?
Anyway, shall we?
Candy canes.
Or maybe I'm lying. I don't know you the truth, mall boy. Whatever. You know what? I just wanted to spread some Christmas joy this year, but
Okay, the prosecution would like to add Exhibit Omega to the list of exhibits against the defendant in the case of Christmas enjoying people versus this particular incarnation of Santa Claus, because that is some willful psychological damage via deception there. I'm not sure if it technically falls under the legal category of gaslighting, but it's certainly intentionally inflicting psychological trauma.
Right. I didn't mean to pause. For some reason, the video just stopped working. So I'm going to rewind that back so we can watch the full 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Candy canes?
Candy canes.
or maybe I'm lying. I don't know you the truth, mall boy. Whatever. You know what? I just wanted to spread some Christmas joy this year, but you're just going to torture me because I'm not the real Santa. You know what? There should be a special place in the naughty list just for people like you, Santa. Hey.
He's not wrong. If anything that this Santa has said is in any way accurate to this particular incarnation, then yeah, I agree.
Just wait. Just wait.
Candy canes.
It's all coming to a head. It's all coming to a head. Candy canes?
Candy canes.
Look at me. You remember this. Yeah. I am above the list. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, jolly old fat man's not so jolly anymore, huh? I'm sorry. Oh, did I break your little childhood? Were you gonna pout about it? No. You gonna pout about it? No. You gonna pout, you gonna cry, you gonna shout about it? No. I do it.
Does that count as menacing? Like,
yeah.
I know that.
So
I don't really
we
think we have too long of a list, to be honest, at this point.
Yeah, the prosecution moves that this particular incarnation of Santa should be replaced with a better incarnation of Santa immediately.
Shall we?
Yeah, candy canes.
Candy cane.
What I want, okay? I knock people on and off the list willy-nilly. I skip a house one year if the dad gets laid off from his factory job. I sometimes include batteries, and I sometimes just don't include batteries. I answer to no one. Hell, for all you know, I'm just a bad seed clone
who didn't want to try his milk and cookies.
Okay, the prosecution moves that this Santa be placed under arrest for the remainder of his natural life.
Candy canes.
Candy canes.
We got that? I've been hunting you for years. The clone on the lamb, the secret Santa. But now I got you recorded. Because here's the thing. I'm not a mall Santa.
Dun dun dun.
Okay, this immediately. Okay, this is great. Candy canes.
Candy canes.
I'm a mole Santa. Oh. A dispose elf always gets his man.
No. Hold on. Wait, I just realized the miracle, the spirit of Christmas. I'm good now. Look, I checked the list.
That's not the real Santa, which, you know.
The prosecution moved that this particular clone of Santa be disposed of immediately.
I mean, the disposal elf is pouring milk for him. I was like, that moment, I was waiting to hear your reaction.
I would advise the technicians of the North Pole that their cloning process needs work. If a clone can fall this far away from, the proper Santa ethos, because this is slowly but surely treading into Yule Man territory here. I'm glad this particular clone is getting ganked.
Mm-hmm. Shall we see it?
We shall. Candy canes.
Candy canes.
And it says the bad one is good now. Don't make me do it.
Cheers.
I'm a real Santa. This is nothing to me.
I also want to point out, I just love how this cell looks too. It's desaturated, but it still works, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it pisses me off because there's so much creativity within just 6 and so minutes as we are currently. And this was just two people talking in a room. And I would say we were fairly engaged with it all, right?
Yeah. And Hollywood refuses to make use of the immense power of the internet for some.
I'm just looking at the stuff on the table, and you know those that little ball thing. I don't know what it's called. That on desk and stuff that you hit one side and the other hits it.
Oh, the Newton's Cradle.
Yeah, they're made out of ornaments.
That's funny.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Good attention to prop detail.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we?
Candy canes.
Candy canes.
And to all, a good
The old ring finger fake out.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
he at least was. I was gonna say, at least as bad as that clone was, he at least died with some kind of embraced his death in a way. So I can give him some respect in that.
Dignity. He died with dignity.
I kind of don't want to say dignity because I don't really think so because he was begging at first,
Mhm.
but in the end he kind of did accept it. So it's,
At least he didn't try to. At least he didn't try to run, and then make the disposal have to like stab him with a sharpened candy cane or something.
yeah. He took the quick way. Yeah.
Anyway, candy canes.
And canes.
We got a silent night.
I dug that pun. As much as I hate puns, that was a good one.
Yeah, no, in terms of especially because it does sound like the kind of like code that the elves would come up with in the event that this was how it worked.
Yeah. Still pretty early.
I mean, I don't really think we should play the Santa versus Grinch thing again.
I mean, it's a classic though, and we get to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Okay, fine.
All right, let me set it up real quick.
One more for the road. Why not? I wish I had kept. There was a version of Deck the Halls that was like it was called something like Deck the Halls Dark Magic version, and I wish I had kept it because somebody added a whole bunch of new lyrics to the song, and that was really cool. But I don't know where it is now. I don't even remember who exactly did it. I found it on like Facebook Shorts, like the Facebook equivalent of Shorts. I think they're called Reels. I just don't, and I know I liked it. I don't know how to check your likes or the reels you've liked in Facebook. But that would be a cool one to do for next year, probably if I can find it again. And you realize that if we go until midnight, we'll have literally been streaming through the new year.
Sorry, everything was kind of running a little slow, but I got everything working. And also, yes, I am aware, kind of to do that because we haven't really ran till midnight in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but just to end on, I mean, we've kind of had just good shorts so far, so.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to just keep revisiting this one every year just because it's so fun.
Okay, sure.
Am I wrong?
No, no. I just wish we could find new cool like shorts and stuff. So
I mean, we can. I'm just saying,
yeah,
like,
instead of revisiting the same one.
I mean, we can. I'm just saying, like, this is one that I think just is a classic. That if nothing else, we can just enjoy. Like, if we can't find anything.
Hmm. Anyway, candy
Well,
canes.
Yeah.
Nailed that landing. What are you doing here?
I walked off the naughty list, Chris Kringle.
Come on, Jake Paul can't even get off the list. What makes you?
I love the Jim Carrey impression that the Grinch actor is doing.
Right,
'Cause
and I think you're the one.
it's obviously Jim Carrey's Grinch that they're doing an homage to.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, that is the most relatively recent one in pop culture memory.
Hmm. And I don't think the Benedict Cumberbatch one has the staying power of the Jim Carrey one. Like apparently people older than us really don't like the Jim Carrey version. Like I know Doug Walker and Rob Walker really don't like it for some reason. But I can't I've listened to their explanation as to why they don't like the Jim Carrey one before, but I just don't get it. Like it's very obviously supposed to kind of be a parody of the Chuck Jones version. And I think as a parody of that or an expanded version of that, I think it really works.
Yeah, again, that was the first one I saw, and I really enjoyed it. Like I had it on VHS back when that was a thing.
I had them both on VHS. I had the Chuck Jones version on VHS that also had the Horton Hears a Who animated on it, and I had the Jim Carrey version on VHS, and the VHS was green for some reason. Well, obviously for thematic reasons, but it always made me laugh whenever a VHS was a different color because they were all almost always black. So whenever they went through the effort of changing the plastic color around the VHS, I always noticed like all the classic Nickelodeon VHSs were orange because of course Nickelodeon colors.
And you know what? Actually, I mean, I know this seems somewhat disjointed here, but I do kind of agree that it feels somewhat odd to revisit an old one we've already covered. And I'm thinking of like a few things we could. There's like one thing I think we could watch that we haven't watched on here before.
Okay.
But I don't know if you want to stop watching this or finish it and then watch that if we have the time.
I mean, we can always come back to this after that one is done if you want to.
Okay, yeah, just give me a minute to find that video then.
And while we're looking at things we haven't necessarily reacted to on this channel before, have you ever heard the song "Steampunk Holiday" by Reginald Pintivant Esquire? Because we might, if you haven't heard of that one, we might have to do that one next too.
Okay. Yeah, I've never heard of that, so probably. So this is a Robot Chicken sketch. I don't know why I always draw Robot Chicken into this thing.
Because you were exposed to Robot Chicken at a formative age, I guess. Just like
yeah.
just like I was exposed to just like I was exposed to a lot of things that I always end up roping in here somehow.
Yeah. So this is Robot Chicken Lots of Holiday Special. It's like one clip. No closed captions, so yeah. But it's 1:20, so it'll be quick. Hopefully.
Yeah. Candy canes.
Candy canes.
He sees you when you're healthy. He knows when you feel sick. He knows if you've been naughty or nice. That's right, Santa can't be tricked.
All right, let's go over my naughty and nice list for this year.
Well, Billy Marchetti in Rochester stole a candy bar.
Looks like
Give it a minute.
Candy canes.
Candy canes.
someone is now on my naughty list.
But he did it because his family's on welfare and his mom traded all the food stamps for heroin.
Oh, that's a tough one.
He watches when you're home. He knows when you're away. He's also starting to realize that life is morally gray.
Womp.
Oh, it gets better.
Candy canes.
Candy canes.
Regina from Nome, Alaska got an A on her math quiz.
Well, that's cut and dried. A gift for Regina.
But only because she cheated.
Okay, coal for Regina.
But she only cheated on the test because she can't read the blackboard due to the fact she's dyslexic.
He's having an exit.
I mean, the girl still cheated, regardless of that. That should be a problem she should have fixed on her own. So
okay, but if she doesn't have the resources or didn't tell anyone about it, then okay, in the first case, my thinking is stealing a candy bar is not that naughty. Irrespective of the contextual sob story that followed it, stealing a candy bar in and of itself is not enough to wind up on the naughty and nice list. The naughty list.
I'm gonna say this as a friend. Given how your own personal morality works, or lack thereof, I don't think you should ever work on the naughty or nice list.
I mean, this is also fair, but hasn't literally every child occasionally done something like that? You really think the placement of naughty or nice, maybe this is a case of I'm the asshole, but unless it's a habit, unless he steals a candy bar every time he goes to the store, I wouldn't think that stealing a candy bar would be that much of a determining factor. But once again, maybe I'm the asshole, because as you say, my moral compass is
a roulette wheel.
Very, very particular sometimes. So maybe I'm the asshole, but just intuitively, I don't think stealing a candy bar should be the determining factor as to whether or not you're on the naughty and nice list to begin with.
Okay, but what about the second one then?
especially given that Santa basically operates outside of the jurisdiction of the parents in this context. If Santa knows that this child is dyslexic, he probably should give her like resources to help her with their dyslexia, considering that maybe her parents don't know and or she's not comfortable with telling anyone else about it. Like that would be my solution to this. My solution to this would be she goes on the nice list and her gifts include things that would help her with their dyslexia. Because if Santa truly is this semi-omnipotent figure who sees, and knows everything, then he should also be able to target, he should be able to tailor the gifts he gives kids to their particular needs in cases like this.
Fair enough. I still think she cheated, so regardless of the other factors,
But again, even then, the cheating, like, if it's a one-off and if it's something she did under duress, I don't think it should be a determinate factor.
That's okay. That's fair. If it was a continuous thing, then it's a naughty list thing.
Yeah,
Got
if it's a continuous thing and there are no like extenuating circumstances like that, sure. But like the thing is, in the cold light of reality, you kind of have to grade kids' behavior on a curve, because you will everyone occasionally has a bad day, and that includes kids. So are you going to judge whether they're naughty or nice based on the worst day they have out of 364? Or are you going to like average that out and go, okay, when they have been naughty, it's been a rarity, or it's been a one-off, or it's been, there were extenuating circumstances or something like that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Anyway, here comes my favorite.
Candy canes. Yeah.
I feel like there's some dread in you with what I just said.
A little bit, because I didn't expect us to disagree quite so much over this particular bit, but I guess it's possible. It's possible I'm the asshole, but
no. Look, I get your point. It's just, I think moment-wise, I'm somewhat more strict on it. But considering the other factors that could play a part in it, I get it. I think it's just when it's isolated like that, that is where I judge it as it is.
I think it's the fault of I think it's partially the fault of the people who wrote the skit in the first place, because in my head, the naughty list or nice list doesn't operate on an incident by incident basis. It's like the way I look at the naughty and nice list is like, assuming that Santa, exists and everything, would be that like every kid has a file, and like there's like a year-long report on the kids that like explains everything they did, and if they can tell the reasons, then it would also give the reasons why they did them, if there are extenuating circumstances and so on. So that way you can look at like it's almost like a personality profile, or like when they call in FBI profilers to profile like criminals and stuff. That's the way I would think it would work, because then you can take into account who the person is as a person individually, and also their individual circumstances and stuff. And that way you're not turning the entire, you're not stopping the whole thing on a dime just because they did one wrong thing on their worst day out of 364 or whatever the fuck.
You know what? That is completely fair.
Like what I would think the naughty list is for kids who have a sustained pattern of behavior that is consistently like bad or malign, or even like because there are kids, and I'm sure, being as we all went to a school, we all know kids who just default are just bad regardless. Like there are definitely kids who have a negative pattern of behavior, full stop. But even the best kid is going to have a temper tantrum or is going to do an occasional wrong thing, especially if they're at a young enough age where they go like they haven't yet learned the whole right from wrong thing exactly yet. Anyway, moving on. Candy cane.
Communicates.
Guys, stop. Stop singing. All right, just stop. I have a lot of things to think about.
Does Seth MacFarlane always voice Santa in Robot Chicken? Because I feel like he's showed up before in clips we've done in previous years, and he was also voiced by Seth MacFarlane in that episode.
Yeah, like until relatively recently, he hasn't. But yeah, he used to quite a lot actually.
Well, good for Seth. He makes a decent Santa.
Right. So what was the song you were talking about?
It's called A Steampunk Holiday by Sir Reginald Pintivant Esquire.
Okay, give me. Reginald Pike Devant.
Yeah. Just type in Steampunk Holiday; it should come up.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Don't think there's one with lyrics in it, so we'll just have to do that. Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Steampunk Holiday by Reginald Pike Devant. Nope. No. Stop. Okay. Did not mean for that to happen. But yeah. Steampunk Holiday by Reginald Pike Devant Esquire. And this was apparently posted on YouTube 11 years ago. So
yeah, no, it's pretty old. I found it like 5 or 6 years ago. It's just a very humorous. It's just a very humorous song. Most of Reginald's songs are very funny. I don't know if he still does stuff because he hasn't posted a video on his channel in a long time. But it's a really good, fun and nerdy Christmas song. Anyway, Candy Canes.
I actually might have something similar to this that is Christmas related, but if we have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Candy Canes.
Candy Canes. Yeah, that first 20 seconds was probably just music. So Candy Canes.
Yeah, although it was good music though.
Yeah.
A lot better than anything we get these days.
This is true. This is
Well,
very true.
Officially, the indie scene and stuff like that.
Yeah, the
actually is-
indie scene is a completely different matter, but like modern day pop music is
Oh my
shit.
god! Don't even get me started on that. Anyway,
Well, don't get me started on modern day country. Anyway, Candy Cane.
don't get me started on modern day hip hop.
Good God.
No rap,
At lea-
actually.
Yeah,
Modern rap.
I was about to say, at least it's not rap.
Anyway,
Most rap deserves a C in front of it.
to modern, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Candy cane.
Anyway, Candy Canes. Yes.
End of the year, and all through the land, the steampunks had fakes and soirees all planned. With their top hat and tails, every stained coverall, they put on their finest to meet at the ball. Their hats were all covered with goggles and gears, and high-octane beverages filled bandoliers. Then boarding dirigible, handsome and sub, they all made their way to the Loveless Club.
Why am I getting the Monster Mash kind of feeling from this?
Well, because it's supposed to be steampunk, so it's like quasi-Victorian in nature.
That doesn't
It's
explain the Monster Mash vibe I'm getting.
well, but it's probably because of the like the dude singing is kind of similar to Bobby Orr's Pickett a little bit.
Right.
Of course, my first thought when listening to this was similar to like Nat King Cole and stuff like that. But then again, I'm a bit more predisposed to old school stuff in general. So I listen to a lot of like I listen to a lot of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and stuff like that too. So
For the record, I listen to a lot of old stuff too. Granted, I do like I listen to Cap Calloway, Ray Charles, Nina Simone. Okay, so
Ray Charles I'll give you, but Nina Simone is a little bit too modern, I think, to be considered old school. Anyway, Candy
she's
Cane.
from the okay, no. She's from the 60s and 70s, I believe.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, Candy Canes.
Thinner Man is my all-time favorite song of hers.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just the piano of it all gets me.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I love jazzy music that just gets like swing music.
Hmm.
Just gets me dancing. I don't know. Anyway.
Candy Canes.
The boilers set the airship for the North Pole. As we float through the sky, keep a watchful eye for reindeer out the porthole. Scruffy ball goes on against the blizzard, hang a reef on each hatchway. As we all sail up, raise the war sail, come to the steampunk holiday.
That's fun.
Yeah, you can see why I dust this one off every year, especially while I'm making my Christmas list.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Candy Canes.
And when it arrived and the seats were arranged, their cards and handshakes and gifts were exchanged. Mechanical marvels and boxes of tea, fob watches and pickle jars filled with debris. A vintage edition, a clockwork coal scuttle, and clothing and styles from risque to subtle. The children got toys.
Yeah, the way he's singing does really remind me of Monster Mash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, honestly, that is a compliment in this.
Mm-hmm. In any case, Candy Canes.
Candy Canes.
The adults did too, though many of the latter were from Doctor Who. Shove along, call each other boilers, set the airship for the North Pole. As we float through the sky, keep a watchful eye for reindeer out the porthole. Scruffy ball goes on against the blizzard, hang a reef on each hatchway.
Yeah, I really enjoy this song. It's the right mix of old school and nerdy for me. Which I mean, if you've ever listened to Sir Reginald's other music, that's not surprising because his whole thing is basically doing like old school Victorian songs, but with a like steampunky twist. Like he made a song called Sir Reginald's Marvelous Organ that is basically the classiest dick joke ever.
I will say this song definitely suits you because you are old and nerdy.
This is true. This is very much my my cup of tea.
Spoken like a true old man.
I'm still in my 20s, thank you very much. I've been old school for a very, very long time. Like the running joke in my house when I was growing up was that I was whatever age I was going on 70. Like even when I was like 8 or 9 years old, that was still the joke that Dalton is 9 going on 70. So
anyway, shall we?
Yeah, we shall candy canes.
Candy cane.
Those revelers possessing a musical bent serenaded all the others who were at the event. Then, braving the cold winter snow, slush, and sleet, they sang jolly carols from street to street.
And here is to Babbage's difference engine, which all do agree is a splendid invention.
I'm sorry. It's just like I say, like steampunk is very adjacent to my sphere of geekdom. So like I can appreciate that this is done in the old school style, and also if me and the friends that I've gone to cons with before got together, several of whom are like deep into the Society for Creative Anachronism and Ren Fair type stuff, I could see something like this happening to us if we got to get together around the Yule season. Anyway, candy canes.
Yeah.
Then, after a brief fusillade of snowballs, they made their retreat to the warmth of the hall.
Shovel all calling to the boilers, set the airship for the North Pole. As we float to the sky, people watch the light for reindeer off the North Pole. Sunday morn goes on against the blizzard, and you reap on each stretch way.
I don't really have anything to add, just candy canes.
I dig it. Candy canes.
As we all sail on, race the all sails up to the steamboat holiday.
The cooks had prepared a marvelous feast, with all of the trimmings, and of course a roast beast. But if Carput après-day Pharaoh would not do, they'd also cooked up vegetarian stew. And when they'd all dined...
It's so much like old school Christmas spirit, but with the like underlying geekiness of it being like very steampunky. And after the stream, I'm gonna have to send you the Sir Reginald's Marvelous Organ song because, like I say, it's the classiest dick joke in human history.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, candy canes.
All right. Yep, candy canes.
Everybody agreed it was a wonderful holiday party indeed. Then ere they departed, before they'd all gone, they vowed to reconvene at the very next con.
Shovel all going to the boilers, set the airship for the North Pole. As we float through the sky, keep a watchful eye.
No further comment. Candy canes.
Candy canes.
And you reap on each hatchway. As we all sail on a breeze, we all sail come to the steampunk holiday. As we all sail on a breeze, we all sail come to the steampunk holiday.
Yeah. And now I have infected you all with my Yuletide geekdom. Every year I revisit that song at least once, usually more than once.
Well, unfortunately, I do not think we are going to make it to midnight.
Yeah, I could tell the last couple of pauses you were kind of drifting there. So yeah, I think this is as good a place as any to call it.
So, with that, folks, I want to say goodbye, adios, aloha, avinasai, sayonara, peace, cheers, and
Happy New Year! Fuck off.
see you next year, folks.